Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, hold on tight because what's happening behind the scenes in the NFL right now could shake up the entire NFC East, and more specifically, it could seriously boost the New York Giants' chances in the upcoming season. Rumors are swirling around that the Tennessee Titans, currently sitting at a rough 2-6 record and facing some serious secondary issues, are exploring a trade involving their cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. And trust me, this isn't just some random rumor. It's something that could change the landscape of the Giants, secondary, and consequently their entire defense. Let's dig into what's going on because this potential trade might be one of those pivotal moments that define the Giants' season and maybe even their future. The Titans, with their current struggles at 2-6, are clearly in rebuild mode. Their secondary has been leaking points, and the defense as a whole has been underperforming. L'Jarius Sneed, a player who's been making waves across the league, could be the piece they're willing to move to reset and retool for the future. What makes Sneed such an intriguing candidate isn't just his stats, but his overall impact on the game. Over his career, Sneed has accumulated an impressive 10 interceptions and 43 pass deflections, showcasing his ability to make plays on the ball and disrupt opposing offenses. His PFF coverage grade of 89.5 is among the best in the league, demonstrating his consistency and reliability at the cornerback position. In the 2025 season alone, Sneed has been solid with 24 solo tackles, and he's allowed just over half of his targets to be completed, specifically 54.2%. That's a remarkable stat because it indicates that opposing quarterbacks are finding it difficult to complete passes against him, and he's making sure those passes don't turn into big gains. His EPA per target of -0. 43 and 7.4 yards per target show that when quarterbacks do throw in his direction, they're losing yardage or getting very little, which is exactly what you want from a shutdown corner. And what's even more promising is that Sneed has not been dealing with any new injuries this season, which means he's healthy and ready to contribute immediately. Now, let's compare him to the Giants' current cornerback situation. The Giants have a cap space of around $6.5 million, which is decent but not unlimited, and they're also dealing with some weaknesses in their secondary. Adebo, for example, is currently nursing a knee injury, and that leaves the team somewhat vulnerable on the opposite side of Andrew Phillips. The Giants need to bolster that second cornerback spot, especially since they're aiming for a defense that can truly compete at the highest level. Sneed, with his elite coverage skills, would be an ideal addition, especially considering his ability to shut down top receivers and force turnovers. Let's talk about what Sneed brings to the table in more detail. He's a lengthy, physical cornerback, standing out not just because of his height, but because of his playmaking ability. His career stats include 10 interceptions and 43 pass deflections, which are huge numbers for a player still in his prime. With a PFF grade of 89.5, he's considered among the top-tier corners in the league right now. His performance metrics are eye-opening. He's allowed just 24 solo tackles in 2025, and his targets against him have a completion rate of only 54.2%. That's elite. When quarterbacks target him, they're often throwing into tight windows or challenging his coverage, but he's holding firm. His EPA per target of -0. 43 indicates that throwing in his direction is a risk for the offense. But what really makes Sneed stand out is his ability to create turnovers. His impact on the game goes beyond just covering receivers. He elevates the entire defensive unit. When he's on the field, his team's ability to force punts increases significantly. In fact, his presence has been shown to bump up the team's punt force rate from 33% to around 40%. That might not sound like much, but in game terms, it's huge. That extra pressure on the offense means more opportunities for the defense to get off the field and create scoring chances for the Giants. Plus, he's a player who can match up against the best receivers in the league, like CeeDee Lamb, who's been a nightmare for many defenses this season. Adding Sneed to the Giants' secondary could be the difference between a good defense and an elite one, potentially elevating the Giants to a level where they're not just competing but dominating. Now, let's consider the bigger picture. The Titans' odds of trading Snead are around plus 25-0 to plus 14-500, which shows there's still some uncertainty about how likely this move is. But if it does happen, it could be a game changer. The Titans are looking at this as a reset, similar to what the Bears did in 2023 when they traded away key pieces to rebuild for the future. For the Giants, acquiring Snead would be akin to hitting the jackpot. His presence would elevate the defense, making it much more difficult for opposing offenses to move the ball, especially through the air. And with the NFC East being such a competitive division, where every game counts, having a shutdown corner like Snead would give the Giants a massive advantage. But let's talk about how this move would impact the Giants specifically. Right now, the team's cap space is around $6.5 million, which isn't a lot but enough to make a strategic move for a player like Snead. The Giants' secondary needs help, especially considering the injuries and inconsistencies we've seen so far this season. Adebo, who's supposed to be a key piece, is currently out with a knee injury, leaving Phillips and others to pick up the slack. Adding a player of Snead's caliber would immediately bolster their pass defense, and it could shift the entire dynamic of their secondary. We know how important secondary play is in today's NFL. Covering top receivers, forcing turnovers, and creating pressure on quarterbacks are the pillars of a championship-level defense. If Snead is added to the mix, the Giants could see a reduction in passing yards allowed per game, which currently hovers around 230 yards. With Snead's ability to limit completions and force punts, that number could drop significantly. His presence would also make it more difficult for opponents to exploit the secondary, especially in critical situations. Imagine him shadowing top receivers like CeeDee Lamb, one of the league's most explosive and dangerous pass catchers. That matchup alone would be a nightmare for any offense, and the Giants would be better equipped to handle it. Now, let's consider the tactical aspect. Snead's ability to influence the game by forcing punts and creating turnovers elevates the entire team's chances of winning close games. His impact can be compared to that of a player like Jalen Ramsey, who has been instrumental in the Dolphins' secondary in 2025, helping them amass over 130 pass deflections as a team. For the Giants, bringing in a player like Snead could be the missing piece, an X-factor that transforms their defense from decent to elite. And in a division where every game is a battle, having that extra edge can be the difference between making the playoffs or missing out entirely. Now, looking ahead, the trade scenario is fascinating. If the Titans are willing to part with Snead for a second-round pick in 2026 and a sixth-round pick in 2027, it's a bargain considering what he brings to the table. It's a calculated risk for the Titans, but for the Giants, it's a move that could pay dividends for years to come. With Snead, the Giants would not only improve their immediate pass defense, but also send a message that they're serious about contending again. It's a move that could set the stage for a resurgence, a new chapter where the Giants are once again feared for their secondary. And speaking of the division, the NFC East is always a battleground, with teams like the Eagles, Cowboys, and Commanders all vying for supremacy. The Giants, with this potential addition, could position themselves as the team to beat, especially if they can solidify their secondary and leverage Snead's playmaking ability. The Cowboys' offense, led by CeeDee Lamb, is one of the most potent in the league, and having a player like Snead shadowing him would be a game changer. The Eagles, too, have a dynamic offense, but the Giants' defense could match up better if they pull off this trade. Now, let's not forget the fans. For the Giants' faithful watching this unfold, it's an exciting time. The possibility of seeing a player of Snead's caliber donning the Giants' blue and red is thrilling. It's a move that signals the team's commitment to winning, to building a defense that can compete with the best in the league. And it's not just about this season. It's about establishing a foundation for sustained success, a defense that can be the backbone of a championship run. The road to the Super Bowl has always been paved with strong defenses, and adding Snead could be the catalyst for that peak performance. In conclusion, folks, what we're seeing here might be more than just a trade rumor. It's a potential game changer for the Giants and the NFC East as a whole. A player like Snead, with his elite coverage skills, ability to create turnovers, and impact on the game, could be the missing ingredient that elevates the Giants to a whole new level. If this deal goes through, it will be one of those moves remembered for years to come. An example of smart management, bold strategy, and a clear vision for a winning future. The Giants are on the cusp of making a statement, And if they manage to bring Snead into their fold, the division and the league better watch out because the Giants might just be back to reclaim their spot at the top. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential trade? Do you believe Snead is the piece that can turn this defense into one of the league's best? Are you excited about the possibility of him playing for the Giants? Drop your thoughts, your predictions, and your questions in the comments below because your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. We're all in this together, and I'll be back very soon with more updates, rumors, and insights about your beloved Giants. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep pushing forward because the best is yet to come.